keeping you informed and entertained, inspired. GLS 103.5 Slow Jams Tuesdays.
I don't wanna be alone tonight. It's pretty clear that I'm not over you. I'm still thinking about the things you do.
Vintage Tuesdays.
Baby, can we meet? So I can light your fire. Baby, can we meet? Cause I've got what you want and you got what I need, yeah. Baby, can we meet?
Turn It Up Fridays.
Oh gosh, I'm say, me fretting up, but we hear a flexing.
Smash Down Saturdays.
Shut, I'm drinking. It's better when I'm drinking. I tune up when I'm drinking. Rum when I'm
Gospel Sundays at 9 a.m.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you.
Old School Sundays from 5:30 p.m. Lock it and leave it. GLS 103.5 out of Tobago.
Yo, you don't know it's a girl Carissa and me. I say big up to GLS 103.5 online station, the number one in the nation.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3 finding a company that excels in electrical, plumbing, AC installation and repairs, painting and much more. SAS Electrical is here for you, giving you excellent service, great rates, timely completion. Contact SAS Electrical at 709-9215 or 359-1014. Call us today. SAS Electrical. Streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more. GLS 103.5 out of Tobago.
In your face, all over the place. We're online. You're listening to the hottest internet station
In the Caribbean, GLS
103.5.
out of Tobago.
Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy.
GLS 103.5 out of Tobago. Buckle up those seatbelts. No drinking and driving. No overtaking on the shoulders. No texting and driving. Your family awaits you at home. Drive to arrive alive. A message from GLS 103.5.
Saturday, 15th February, the night after Valentine. It's Many Moods of Love at Apex on the Roof, Storbay Local Road, from 9 p.m. Featuring Adana.
Ask me how I'm feeling good, cause I'm looking good, and I'm walking good.
Ziggy Rankin.
Well, you know I want me work. Every night me I kneel and me pray.
Squatty.
Don't worry. It hurt me hard, I balled me bad. Can't believe I've gone, you're gone.
Stephanie Joseph.
Living a lie that I believed. Doing wrong, thinking I was right.
And Kabesi.
Them a slip, them a slide, there is no way to run, no way to hide. Oh no.
Backed by Tobago's #1 live band, Kashif Wilson and the Quartet. Free shots on entry. Early bird tickets, only $100. Available at Cachet's Gulf City Mall and Apex, Storbay Local Road. For info, call 745-8953. Get in the mood for love. It's It's a Love Day, hosted by RL Entertainment.
What you could do when you get this ching chong, ching chong? I don't know, no. What you could do when bumper fling dong, fling dong.
Good afternoon to one and all. It's nice having you all inside. Nice having you all inside. GLS 103.5 online radio. As we say, good afternoon to you and yours. Once again, broadcast out of the sister out of Tobago. Nice having you guys inside. This afternoon is what we call Interested, where we educate you, I should say, and motivate you on issues in and out of Trinidad and Tobago, and not only for Trinidad and Tobago, but things that could educate you worldwide. Alright, I have in studio with me this afternoon Mr. Charles. He's basically Ochoy Charles. Now this gentleman, definitely I will say this person is someone that actually, hearing this person will actually put you in a position to understand more of what Tobago and what not only Tobago, but what actually the government's supposed to do in your country. Alright, so questions that you all need to ask, you can actually send your question. We will see all your information on the screen. Alright, we are in with you this afternoon, don't forget. Alright, just permit me just one moment. Yes. And I must say, I thank for that correction. By public demand was asked for him to be here today, and not only today, but every Tuesday, right? And he actually made it his duty to be here in studio this afternoon with us. Yes, and we also will have Jackie joining us here this afternoon. All right, so once again, I like to actually introduce the man of the hour, the person that you can put all your questions to, and you will be able to rephrase these, you will be able to answer these questions that you will actually feel most joy, most comfort. All right. So good afternoon to the whole entire world. Locked on. Nice having you all inside. All right.
Good afternoon,
I like to start as. Hey, Mr. Charles, I see people don't recognize you already, man. I see Mr. Edwards, Clark, good afternoon. And I see a gentleman, Mr. Clark is saying good afternoon to you, Mr. Charles.
My brother, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to each and every one. So, Mr. Charles, how are you this afternoon? How are you?
Always excellent and peaceful by the grace of God.
And peaceful by the grace of God.
Yes, man. Without His grace, we are nothing, you know. Just remember, we are just dust. Only the Spirit of God is our life that keeps us. If the Spirit moves out, we become dust again. So, always by the grace of God.
Yes, yes, yes. And it is such an honor this afternoon to know that the people is who actually call back for you, you know, having you here inside our studio this afternoon. All right, so people don't forget, ask whatever question that you need to ask on the comments of what we will be discussing in studio this afternoon, and you will be educated. So, Mr. Charles, basically, I know definitely this is Jackie's show, so she probably would have got the information to actually start you. But I turn the floor over to you at this time, Mr. Charles.
Well, thank you very much. And let me just indicate from the outset that I have to leave by 7:30.
By 7:30.
I have another
engagement.
Another engagement with another. This is a television station.
Television station.
They called me because of all that's happening.
Okay.
So the current issue in the country today is the Tobago elections.
The Tobago
You
election.
remember that in the PNM elections and so on.
Right.
Last week I would have touched on certain things with respect to that election. And I tell you, during this entire week, after the election on the first day, which was either the 16th or something like that, people, there was a runoff. So there was no actual leader. But on the 26th, which was Sunday gone, the runoff took place.
Yes.
So after the runoff, there's a clear leader, which is Tracy Davidson. Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine.
Okay.
On Monday, people expected, those who did not believe what we said or did not hear us or understand, that the chief secretary who is there, Mr. Calvin Charles, even though he lost the election, he would have remained chief secretary until the next Tobago House of Assembly election. So on Monday, the 27th, which was yesterday, all over I walked and go. People said to me, but Mr. Charles is still the chief secretary. I said, I told you that. People told me, we were actually deceived, you know. They were actually deceived. And remember what I said last week? I always speak the truth to people.
Before we go further, Mr. Charles, I see Mr. Clark asking a question about last week Tuesday. Just take that detail there for me, the last one.
What's the question?
Down below here.
Ask about... No. And I am not going to be discussing Sanders. I did explain last week that I don't want to spend any time discussing any one project. I explained last week how fragile the tourism industry is.
Correct, yes.
How fragile. You know what tourism is?
Yes.
The movement of people from one place to another place. So tourism all over the world because people traveling all the time.
Correct.
And when you build these, I'm not against anything because you need to examine all the pros and the cons.
Yes.
About Sandals, that is one particular activity, which is a hotel. I said when you focus on these large buildings in your country, and something happens to the places that the tourists come from, that they can't travel again. There's a war, especially right now, what's happening in America and Iran. And so we don't know what is going to happen outside there. That people would not be able to, you see what's happening in China.
Yes.
What happens in China with this particular virus. And they're banning people not traveling, and so it may be worse. You build large hotels here.
Yes,
and something like that happened with the tourism. You have to be very strategic with regards to tourism. And people would not be able to travel. We end up with these white elephants here. Big buildings. This is why I don't want to talk about it like this. This is just, I don't want to talk about it at this time. Because these are things that you need to look at. There are several other things that we need to look at to decide whether Sandals or no Sandals. But let me say this. One project in Tobago, the Studley Park Quarry, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. You don't want a hotel for that, right?
No.
They know, after 20 years, they have now developed it and call it the flagship project. We started that, we developed that, we started building the airport, the jetty and so on, for the ships to come in. Then now, after 20 years, now started. What? The water project in Bloody Bay. You remember people tell me that I was a madman when I said, if there is going to be another world war, it's going to be for water.
Yes.
Bottled water is going to be it. We made arrangement already with, let me just use the Middle East generally, as a general term.
Right.
The Bloody Bay water source are going to provide Tobago.
The Bloody Bay?
Bloody Bay. Remember we drilled a well and cap it there. We lost the election in January.
Yes.
And so on. We're going to make Tobago in 5 years 42.9 billion TT dollars of water to see about 65,000 people on the island. You really may not want a Sandals. But we can do a lot and niche because the rich people outside, when they come, they don't want to go in a big hotel with mass tourism with all kind of people at a big level. That's not where the money is. So we need to examine all of that, and that is not to say that I am saying Sandals shouldn't come or Sandals should come. We need to sit down as a country and talk about that properly and carefully. That's not the answer. We are one track when we start to think about things like that.
All right. So I think, Mr. Clark, you do understand, and I think it was very simply put over. All right. So
I tried to simplify things, yes.
He, as he stated, basically was not to speak about Sandals this afternoon, but he explained, and I think that the explanation that he had given will able to let you know definitely what he just spoken about. I think should be able to give you a leeway of what to expect. Right? I think that the understanding of it was very simple.
All right, well, let me talk about the
yes.
current issue in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, in Trinidad and Tobago.
Is the election within the People's National Movement.
Yes.
And this program is an education program to educate the people of Tobago and Trinidad. Now, when I was here on the last occasion, and I want to explain it in more detail, I said that the election that was taking place within the People's National Movement for a new leader of the PNM in Tobago is a puppet show.
Yes, you spoke about it.
And that was not a slang.
No.
And I know, in fact, I did so last time, but let me explain. Every time I talk to people and I finish the explanation, they said, it's true.
Yes.
No, what is the current status of Tobago is something that is now before the Parliament. In fact, we have to go to Parliament tomorrow in the Joint Select Committee to complete the piece of legislation for the autonomy of Tobago lawmaking executive power without Trinidad running the day-to-day business. Something that has been on the agenda for 40 years, and they have been giving it in pieces. The last piece is to be delivered, which is lawmaking and executive authority. So it is our self-government that is before the Parliament.
That is before the Parliament.
Right. The decision is going to be made because, just remember, they cannot deny the people of Tobago that. Because Trinidad and Tobago is a signatory to the United Nations Charter that says that every people have a right to their self-determination.
Right.
So, in the Parliament, they are going to approve this legislation.
Okay, good.
So the fight of Tobago is for us to manage our day-to-day business in Tobago that you call self-government.
Right.
Now, the people who control the Parliament in Trinidad is the UNC and the PNM. They are the government in Trinidad and Tobago. That's right. So it is there the legislation have to be passed to give to the people of Tobago the authority to determine their own destiny, determine how we develop the land and how we develop our land and so on.
Right.
Now, if those parties in Trinidad, one of them or two of them, select Tobagonians, select them as candidate in that election, that is brought to allow Tobagonians to manage Tobago business. What in fact you are doing is to tell them, take back the power we just asked you for. Because these people are only going to be what? Agents or puppet of the parties that just grant you, so that they will continue the status quo, continue what was going on. And that is why the election that took place, especially the one yesterday, is to decide who will be the chief agent of the government to keep us where we are, or the chief puppet of the government.
I like when you say the puppet.
It's a puppet show. So the whole country was involved in a puppet show. And may I just say this quickly?
Yes.
I was on Brother B last week on Channel 5 last week, Thursday, and I explained that.
Yes, because a lot of people
on Channel 5, that is actually a puppet show to give back the people their power. Give back our power that we just fight for so long to get. Because if you vote, because right now, as it stands now, the PNM is involved.
Yes.
The PNM is in charge of Tobago right now under our THE.
Okay.
All right? Right now, as we speak. They can't do anything for us at all because they are waiting for direction from Trinidad.
Good.
All the time. And that is what is going to be continued. So we don't want any puppets here. We want the people of Tobago to vote for people who will stay here, make the decisions with respect to the people and with the people for developing Tobago the way we see fit. All the water project and all of these that lie down there that they're not doing. Almost all the gas and oil that they are reaping in Trinidad and Tobago come from Tobago. We're not fighting anybody for it. But now, when you vote for Tobago, not PNM or UNC,
Exactly.
not their candidates.
Right.
What in fact you are doing is to allow Tobago to develop those things for the people of Tobago so that we could be able to benefit.
Okay. Nicely.
So that's the issue that is before us. And I don't want to go down the line until after our meeting in Parliament tomorrow.
All right.
Because I'm telling you, there is trouble. And let me say this to you. So one party already in the Parliament that says we're giving you a self-government. Self-government means you people in Tobago will have the right and the ability and the authority to develop Tobago the way you see fit.
Right, correct. Yeah.
Why are you coming up now to send your candidates? You're not going to send people from Trinidad because we're not going to vote for them.
Correct.
So you pick your candidates in Tobago to be your agent.
Which was basically for them.
But puppet.
That's right. Let us stick to the word puppet.
Well, listen to what I'm saying. So now, there is a general election which we know is to be held in Trinidad and Tobago this year, 2020.
Yes. So tell me a little more what you think basically will be the outcome with Tracy Davison being the person who actually won it over Kelvin Charles. What
She just become the chief puppet.
The chief puppet.
She will not be able to do anything because remember, they are within a party structure.
Yeah.
And this is a misnomer, you know, to talk about political leader of a council. You have political leader of a party.
Right.
This is the mama guy you all and deceive you all, you know. Tracy Davidson or anybody in the PNM cannot become a political leader. You don't have a political leader of a council. You're a political leader of a party, so you make decisions.
Okay.
So this council business, don't have no political leader, this joke business. It's a mama guy here to deceive you.
So you are saying...
So all Tracy will do is to become the puppet of the PNM party in Trinidad. Because leader is going to be, it happened to Calvin Charles too. It happened to London. You remember this? Mr. London was the first chief secretary. Then Mr. Calvin Charles. Realize what happened now. Mr. Manning was there when Mr. London was there, first of all, right?
Correct, yeah.
You remember what he said? 6 o'clock in the morning, he will call Mr. London and tell him what to do.
Yes.
And he says, he is exact word, my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. Why? Because he was carrying out the mandate of the Prime Minister in Trinidad, who is his boss, political leader. Now we are Kelvin. Kelvin replaced him.
Yes.
For all the nonsense we're doing in Tobago and voters at Tobago, for God in heaven's sake. We have Kelvin Charles. Kelvin Charles got up and tried to be independent one day when they were discussing the airport project. And he was talking about the bus, the bus terminus and something. You remember at a meeting that the Prime Minister called, who is his political leader. That's the political leader. And when he got up in the meeting as Chief Secretary, what the Prime Minister said? Take your seat.
Yes.
And you have to sit down. So that is what they would all be puppets. Isn't that a joke?
Yeah, right.
So Tracy now become the chief puppet. It was London before. It become Charles. It now Tracy. So don't look at them. They are agents or puppets of the People's National Movement. There is a national party that's out of Trinidad.
Okay.
That in the context of self-government, those two parties in Trinidad from whom you are going to be getting a self-government are irrelevant and obsolete in this case. You give me my power, but you send an agent to contest the election to deliver it. He's not going to work with you. You are the principal in Trinidad.
Exactly.
That's the nonsense we're talking about in Tobago. Waste the whole country time. No. Let me talk about the election, the general election.
Yes. Before we go
and then we'll take all the questions.
Yeah, before we take your... So, Mr. Clark, stay online. We
will respond to you, Anthony Jack. Listen to this. In this election, the 20... Last election, for a number of elections now, and it's becoming more so, the elections, the general elections in Trinidad and Tobago are so tight that no political analyst, scientist can call the election and say who go win and who go lose. Because it's so close. So the two seats in Tobago are always critical to those elections. Follow me well. They are very critical. Everybody knows that. All of them knows that. Now, is the point I'm making, I want to close on this. But we know that the PNM party is in Tobago.
Yes, yes.
So the PNM party from Trinidad interest is already in Tobago because they control the assembly now. They are going to campaign to win those two seats because they have them. Now, the other party, which is the UNC in Trinidad, They are trying to remove the PNM as the opposition from office to become government. But you notice all the campaign all now is that we want to replace this government in office. They're not good. They're this, whatever the case may be. Listen to this.
Yes.
But these 2 seats in Tobago are so crucial to the outcome of that election. But the UNC not in Tobago? Do they have members here?
No, that's
None.
so true. They don't have no members.
Do you believe that they don't have any interest in this election, knowing too full well that these 2 seats are crucial to their winning?
Exactly, yes. They will know
Well,
getting these
they're not foolish.
No.
Well, let me say this evening.
Yeah.
They have a presence in Tobago.
Yes.
They know what happened in 2013.
Yes, where you had
with Ethiopia. You remember that?
Yeah, where they won and they gave their seat.
They came up 2 weeks before that election because everybody believed that Ethiopia was going to win that election.
Yes.
Everybody. Yes. Until 2 weeks before that election, when the UNC came up in the full number, everybody said, oh God, no, they're going to take over the assembly. Everybody went and gave the PNM 12 seats.
Yes.
Because of that. Hear me well. So the UNC know that if they put their mouth and put their presence openly in Tobago, they will get the same treatment. So they use an agent in Tobago. Let me say this online to the country. This is not an opinion. The PDP is the agent that the UNC using in Tobago right now, as I speak. You want me to repeat that? Sure. The PDP is the agent or the bridge that the UNC using to come into Tobago to take the seats in Tobago.
Okay.
So the PDP is all financed by the UNC.
Well, I'm seeing...
they are UNC.
I'm seeing Mr. Clark is saying UNC have Duke. Mr. Duke.
Oh my God, he just said the same thing I just said. I just said it here, Mr. Clark. I thank you very much. Yeah. Because it's a fact.
Yes.
You see, everybody knows that in the country, you know, that the election, nobody knows how the election coming out in Trinidad. The seats are almost evenly. So the 2 Tobago seats are crucial.
Yes.
And the PNM is already campaigning openly. The other side want to become government. They can't come in the election because of what happened, their experience in 2013. So once we go there, then people in Tobago go and vote for the other side. So what they do? Use an agent.
Yeah.
They knew that before, you know, when they used the TOP in 2012 and come and embarrass them and come and hold the election in Tobago. Come up and take over the election. People turn and just go till you remember that boy Sandy told me, oh God, the Calcutta ship now come. Everybody, people who were not even PNM went and go and vote for PNM.
It's true.
I'm telling you.
That. Yes.
So now they are aware of that. That once you mention the name in Tobago UNC, what is a good thing or a bad thing? Whether you mention the name into UNC in Tobago, people move away from it.
They move away, yes.
So they're not coming.
Point, yes.
But they have an agent in Tobago, who will represent them. And that is the PDP.
Right.
But I have always told people, do not vote in any general election in Tobago and allow your seats to go to either the governing party in the parliament or the opposition. There's a reason for that. Because the way the parliament functions, it functions with 2 sides. A government side and an opposition side. A lot of people didn't know that. They didn't understand it. Right. So when people see the person they call the leader of government business in the parliament, that person, for example, any matter that is to come up before the parliament or comes before the parliament, you hear they talk about legislative caucus. The government side is going to have a legislative caucus. And they will decide this matter that is before the parliament. These are the people from the government side that will speak on it. Those names are taken and those names are given. They know to the speaker.
Yes.
So those are the only people that the speaker, we're going to take the calls in a minute. The speaker going to only recognize that. Nobody else would be able to speak.
Right.
The opposition side will also have the opposition legislative caucus. And the chief whip on that side, the whip on that side, will tell the speaker. But most time the convention and the practice is that most of the opposition people speak.
Yes.
Most of them. But it's the same principle. They decide who are the people from the opposition side that will speak on that particular matter. Nobody else.
Nobody else.
No. No. Once you belong to one of those sides, they have to permit you to speak. That is why sometimes people say that the representatives from Tobago, things are happening, they're not saying anything. They just cannot say anything because they are not permitted to speak.
And is that the way it's supposed to be?
Yes, because you belong to a party.
Okay.
And the party have two sides in the House of, in the House of Representatives. And the House of Representatives is governed by standing orders. And the standing orders there is there. And then the leader of government business is the person who directs what happens on the government side. Right. And the chief whip on the other side.
On the other side. Yeah,
so that's how it works. Okay. So you can't jump up in parliament and talk. Except you are independent. Okay. Except you are that is why Robinson and Murray went to the parliament, did not belong to the government side, and the government side at that time in 1976.
Right.
It was PNM. Mm-hmm. And it was the ULF that was the opposition in parliament. Right. Robinson Murray was DAC, representing Tobago. Right. They were independent in the parliament. That is why they could have got up. Nobody could have. Chief Whip couldn't stop them. Leader, they belong to the party.
Exactly,
so you get up in the parliament and move the motion and win the Tobago House of Assembly for the people of Tobago. Now, this is why for years we're teaching Tobagonians, do not vote for those parties. Vote for a Tobago-based, Tobago-directed and Tobago-controlled party so that they will go to the parliament and deal with the issues of Tobago.
Right.
No. Final point on that. When you vote, this is what we did throughout 2015, explaining to Tobagonians. Don't vote. That election will be so close. No one party in the parliament in 2015, the last election that gone, will win a sufficient number of votes in order to pass the legislation to grant us our autonomy. None. Yeah. So don't vote for any of them. Because if you vote for either of them, you are going to create an enemy by the way you vote in the parliament. These things are on tape and recorded all over on the radio, television for years.
Make a lot of sense.
Listen to me. And then hear the words that we use. Vote for a Tobago-based and Tobago-controlled party, like Robinson Murray in that time.
Good.
We are going to go to the parliament. We're not enemy of any of them because you didn't vote against the two parties, opposition and government. You are not going to be the enemy of the parties by the way you vote. We will use our two votes in order to bring both parties together to deal with the Tobago situation. People in here, they vote for both Chamfa in Tobago West and Webster Roy in Tobago East. Right. Nothing they can say except they permit them to talk. All kind of things happening to Tobago. The same thing happened, and people sometimes will tell me, you know the PNM not like us and the PNM is this. And I said, hey, what I'm discussing with you is not only about the PNM. That is how the parliament works, and that is how Trinidad works towards us. This is the final point, and we're going to take the people they call and so on. Listen to this point. I said, remember that we had two representatives that were in the PP's party, the People's Partnership Government. We had Delmon Baker in Tobago West, and we have the lady, Mrs. Toppin, Aline Toppin.
Yes.
That's right. Vanilla in Tobago East. Right? You remember that?
Yes, I remember that time.
That's the same time when they were when they were drilling oil and gas all out and chase away all fishermen, they can't make any money. While Trinidad get compensation, the Trinidad fishermen them that were removed because you remember is their livelihood. Eh? So if you remove it because you're going to be drilling gas for the nation, you have to compensate them because they lost the income. They can't pay for food, they can't do anything because that's their livelihood. Trinidad get money. Our fishermen they were chased off and they ain't getting no money. But we had two representatives in the parliament and could not say a word because they did not permit them to speak. Because they were what? UNC or People's Partnership.
Okay.
So we cannot see. It's because they were PNM. That is how the parliament works. This is why we're telling people, do not use your two votes in Tobago to vote for either PNM or UNC. Keep it as a Tobagonian, as a Tobago party. And that is why One Tobago Voice is now formed. It was the name was before. We now form one Tobago Voice and the Tobago Party. And that is the only party. We have belong to UNC. We don't belong to the PNM. Vote for that party and you got surprised to see what will happen to this place.
Yes.
So it's only now people are beginning to open. Let me take the question. Hello guys from Brooklyn in the house. Thank you, Brooklyn.
Right.
Oh.
We have
Good
Mr.
evening,
Clark.
everyone.
Yes.
You all will see me on Thursday. I tell you, Jack, say you all will see me on Thursday. Is there a question? Let's talk about the expansion of the airport. Oh, let's come to that. Is who? Clark?
Yeah, Mr. Clark. Yeah.
No. Yes. Over 19, 20 years, there's a decision, you know, Crown Point Airport. At Crown Point Airport, we could not accommodate not even a DC-9 because we are 6,000 feet around we.
Right.
It was not international. Everybody in Tobago would have known the kind of problem that we suffer, the kind of inconvenience by traveling on them, those aircraft, Arawak Airline. You remember those airlines?
Yes.
Traveling to Trinidad, so hot and so on because we could not accommodate jet aircraft in Tobago.
Exactly.
So a decision was made that we will build a new airport, expand the airport.
Right.
3 activities ought to take place. 1, the runway must be improved.
Yes.
We did that in our time.
Right.
Make it 9,500 feet. DC-9, L10, 11 is to come here. All the you know, Virgin Airlines, all of those aircraft coming to Tobago, right?
Yes.
So we finished that in our time. There were 2 other activities to be completed to start the runway, so that the airport would have been completed. 1 is what? The terminal building with the other facilities.
To be extended.
And 3, the airport road. Because as you know now, the road to the airport is through Canaan Bonaccord. The traffic in Canaan Bonaccord right now, even without airport traffic,
Yes.
is greater than Scarborough.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
we lost the government, and there's a new party inside.
Yes.
They have now said we're going to be building those other 2 things, the road and the terminal building with aircraft and the apron and so on to be there. In our time, decisions were taken as to where the terminal building
would have been
located. There would not have been the replacement. In fact, there were only 4 persons to be relocated. And that was agreed upon.
Right.
Not a village.
Yeah.
And the village didn't go up after. So people may say, well, between then and now, maybe the same area is the area where they build up. That's not so. Because the terminal building was not to go where they now want to put it. So I want to make that absolutely clear. So there would not have been any relocation of these people. And then the road to come from Chauvin. You remember, the highway is built, come to Chauvin Junction.
Yes.
We improve Chauvin Road, come across right to the traffic light, right down there.
Yeah.
And then the airport road was to complete it to go to the terminal building.
So that would have been a 4 roads.
That would have been the 4 roads junction. Right there.
I see it right there.
No. So the road going through Canaan Bonaccord would not have been the airport road with all this airport traffic.
Correct.
Follow me. Then now so we're going to do it. The road they announced is to go exactly where it was decided to put it since 20 years ago in my time. 20-something years ago in my time.
Wow.
Follow me. So the runway went exactly where it's supposed to be built by the original decision.
Right.
The road is to go, they announced that just where it was supposed to go, where the decision was made for it to go. Okay. The only area that they're changing is what?
The runway.
No, the building, the terminal building.
Oh, okay.
Now, why aren't you putting it in the same place? I want explanation as to why you're not putting the administration building just where it was supposed to go. Without, and that would not have necessitated the removal of anybody and the displacement of anybody and no acquisition. Why?
Okay.
Let me say this. Nobody could explain. The reason is, if you relocate people,
Yes.
you would need what? Houses to put them on land.
Exactly.
So there is where the trouble is. But if when one voice Tobago and vote for Tobago and one voice in all the election, that will be cancelled and go back to its original position. So there is no relocation of people. You're disrupting a whole community. You know?
Exactly.
Completely destroying their life.
I agree with that 100%.
There's absolutely no reason to do that.
Yes, yes.
So somebody has land
yes.
or buildings to relocate the people. And I think there is where I believe there might be some element of corruption.
Exactly such. Exactly such.
So, in order to stop what's happening down there, Tobago need to stay with Tobago and get away from those parties that are making decisions on Tobago to our detriment.
Very good point taken. Very, very good point taken.
Hello, guys. Oh, yes. Clark said that they have Mr. Duke.
Yes,
wow. I have been talking to somebody today, a senior person in this country. And I was explaining to the person something. Just what I asked you. If these two parties that are in the parliament running, because general election is this year, want to contest, the government want to go back in office, and the UNC, the opposition, want to take over the government. They want to win the election to become government. Because that's what they say. That's what it is. And up to now, you're not seeing the presence of the UNC in Tobago at all. You hear anything about UNC in Tobago?
No.
Are you saying that the election in Tobago is of no interest to them, while those two seats are critical to put them in government? Nobody not foolish. So we know that the PDP, people in Tobago will be deceived again and will be fooled. And I am saying what I am saying today, just like I said what I said in 2012 and 2013. And it's 2 weeks before the election that people find out, oh my God, it's true. And I'm saying another truth today. And I didn't keep it for too long. I said it early, so that Tobagonian will move away from that thing that they call PDP, because the agent of the UNC into Tobago, and come to stay with it one Tobago voice. That is why we call Mr. Duke of the PDP. And he came on board. And he moved away, because had he come on board, he could not be the agent of the other side in the parliament in Trinidad, of the UNC.
Exactly. Just permit me just take these two comments. Lee is saying, yes, that is why they need to do something about that. And Mr. Clark is thanking you for that input.
Thank you. And I want to just say, well, we're doing something about that. One Tobago voice is now educating the population of Tobago to give them all the evidence to support what we're saying and to advise them. Your salvation rests in one Tobago voice. Remember, we're not talking about voting for Ho Choi or anybody. One Tobago voice is to demand and speak, and it's going to happen to bring our power to Tobago. When it comes to Tobago, the people of Tobago will have a chance. You can raise 5 parties if you want to, 2 parties if you want to, and to say, I would want to win that to deliver this thing to the people. Then is when party become important.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
That is when parties become important and name of individual become important. So let's talk about bringing our power.
Yes.
But you notice, Duke jump off.
He jump off a ship.
The man could have formed a party after, you know.
Yes.
But there was TPT, TOP, and the PNM.
Yes, correct.
You remember after that election, when London we met and so on, and we all met, the 3 parties met and agreed to do something at Mount Irving and so on.
Yes,
that we formed the Forum of Political Parties. The 3 parties were there, you know.
Yes.
One of them moved out. They were advised by the other side. If you don't go in there. And the same thing Duke is doing now, to the detriment of the people of Tobago.
Yes, let's take Lee comment.
This is why everyone need to come together. That is what we have just done. Yes. That is what One Tobago voice is.
Yes.
Who is not coming together is only one. The one that is not coming together, that has not yet come together, is the PDP. And they can't come together because they are the agent or the puppet of the other party in Parliament, which is the UNC. And the people of Tobago should abandon that kind of agency and come on board one voice so that Tobago is fixed.
Correct.
This is not a joke. This is not an opinion. This is fact.
Yes.
Because, any sensible person in Tobago today with us, but the UNC want to win the election, they can't win the votes in Trinidad to become government.
Exactly.
But what these 2 seats in Tobago, everybody saying that the 2 seats in Tobago are so crucial to any party that want to become government in Trinidad. But you're not present in Tobago? We're so foolish to believe that the UNC have no interest in the 2 seats in Tobago that are crucial to their winning.
Exactly.
It's so clear. It's so clear as just reading a ABC book. My duty is to educate and to tell the people the truth.
Yes, and I think this is what people need to know.
Tell them the truth. Let them decide what they're going to do afterwards.
Yes, because you see, people it come like they've been blocked out of a certain thing, so they don't know exactly what's taking place.
True.
And basically, with your input and educating the people, I think definitely a lot of people are able to understand now what it actually mean, or because just like as Mr. Clark said, thanks for that input, because it's actually he of himself did not even know about that.
But I'm sure no, any sensible person will start to think, but it's true.
Exactly.
That the 2 parties in Trinidad, they're fighting to become government this year, 2020. We know in January, the elections are due maybe by September down there. And you start to campaign in Tobago yet. The PNM is having the election. In fact, they have the 2 seats in Tobago right now. They are having the election. They control the government in Tobago. They are campaigning all I know is campaign going on. And the UNC don't have a presence in Tobago. When do they intend to put it in? They're already here.
Exactly.
They are here in the form of the PDP. This is not theory. A lot of people in the PDP deceiving them. Because I am sure Farley and the other girl who they just select there, Miss Boris, don't know this what I'm saying. We are saying, listen to me, I'm saying something this evening. Just remember, we don't have no leader yet and so on in the One Tobago. It's only now December we just formed the constitution, as you know, and we now putting the steering committee is now putting the structure in place so that we can have elections and so on. But I am saying from where I sit, I'm the chairman of the steering committee right now. So I can say where I sit today that those people who are in the PDP, especially those candidates that are now selected, including Farley and the other Boris girl, come on board. You're not going to lose nothing. Come on board.
Yes.
Come on board. Because you're going to be deceived and they're going to cry. They're going to be hurting.
Yes.
And that is why a lot of people moving away from politics. You know why? They are deceived. And when they get deceived, sometimes when you deceive, like you're courting a woman, she get deceived one time. Sometimes she becomes so callous. She don't want to see man in her eye. Exactly. We can't live without that. Because you deceive them. The people in Tobago have been deceived by both the PNM and the PDP. And that's a fact. Well, everybody now recognize that the PNM deceived you for a long time. When you remember when we were talking to the people, don't go down and vote. So the people tell us during 2015, no, the PNM told us that Keith Rowley go become the Prime Minister, he go win. And he and Shamfa, that way they tell me in Tobago West, he and Shamfa go give us the cell government. After the election, people talk to me, after the election, Dr. Rowley came here and he addressed the Tobago House of Assembly. I was sitting there, I was invited as the first chief secretary. And he said this. Kelvin Charles was the presiding officer. London was the chief secretary. And he said, well, we know, because the bill went down already, When we took Tobago for the last so many years and the bill went down, he says, look, what we're going to do is that we want to give you self-government, but the assembly can't take self-government, neither can the government give it. The parliament has to do that. And we as government do not have sufficient seat in order to pass it, because it requires 31 votes in the House of Representatives.
Okay.
31 vote to pass the thing that we want.
Okay.
No. He said that in the assembly, said that all over the country. The media people came to me afterwards, wait just now, and he said, this is why. We may have to send the document to the Joint Select Committee. We'll carry it carry it down and carry it to the Joint Select Committee so we can iron out whatever differences and so on, and to see if we can get their support. So when the debate begins in the House, we narrow down all the areas that are of great differences and so on and so on. Now, the media, I'm not calling the names, 3 set of media houses call me and hear them. Mr. Charles, just what you said during the election campaign is what the Prime Minister now tell us. Hear me. I said this to all of them. Hear me. Wait, you all were hearing? They said we listen to everything you say because of what they were publishing and saying. I couldn't believe that the media houses were hearing anything I was saying during the election. Exactly what I say is exactly what happened. And I'm now saying something again. Move away from the PDP. It is the agent of the UNC.
Yes, that's the only...
That's the bridge that the UNC using to come in back to Tobago. Because they know what happened in 2013.
Yes, and they don't want to make the same mistake.
Oh, you can make the same mistake when you want to become government, and the 2 seats in Tobago are so crucial to put you in government. Come on, One Tobago Voice. Why you didn't stay with One Tobago Voice?
Yes.
You see, he want to become the leader.
Yes.
And the people may not have, and I don't know he could have become. But even if he had become the leader in One Tobago Voice, he still have that opportunity. Exactly. Because the people have to vote for the person who will be leader, We don't have no leader inside One Tobago Voice yet. Because the structure put in place, then you go have the election. All of that was told to him. So he had a chance. But remember, if you come in, you're not so sure you're going to become the leader to take your instructions from Trinidad. Take your instructions from Trinidad and to carry Tobago outside there. He knows that.
Exactly.
And he deceived a lot of people, including my good friend Farley. Farley's a good boy. I want him. Yes. Of course, you're making joke to have him. He loves the politics. You can't teach him what I will teach him.
Okay.
And to put him where you want to go. He's deceiving the boy. And he go hurt him, because Farley's a decent fellow, very honest. I know that.
Yes.
I know the parents, but I can't say that. We parents so long ago. The parents was in the house.
Okay.
And he come from that house, in the house. I know. These people I know, very decent boy. I speak to him, Boy, if you move from that thing, then you are being deceived, you're going to be hurt.
Yes, yeah.
Come on board. The people in Tobago should abandon that party. You see, if you wait too late and they get this information like 2013, they had no chance to switch. You know what people tell me? Mr. Charles, we now find out the truth. When Sandy come and talk about Calcutta ship, take over, and when the UNC came, people who are my good friends tell me, we could not split the vote because we don't know they may win. All of us went and go and vote for the PNM. So now I decide to give you the information early. So you're not waiting until it's so late. So you go back and go and put evil into office.
Exactly.
You have a chance to move from where you are. PNM is not the answer. And the PDP is UNC in Tobago. So come on board early so that we can take Tobago and develop Tobago to make everybody wealthy, rich, and comfortable.
I see Mr. Clark comment there, and I'm seeing Miss Otley, that's Otley, saying I'm loving it.
Yes, it's the truth. The truth that will set you free. It is the truth that will set you free.
You I noticed that Mr. Clark put up this twice. This comment is basically
what?
I don't know what he trying.
Facts. Oh no, he said facts.
Yeah,
There's a statement he's making.
Or the facts.
What he's saying is facts.
Oh, thank you very much.
He should have put an exclamation mark after facts so that you will know.
So, yes,
I don't see. Yeah, so he said facts.
Facts is what we're dealing with.
Yeah, that's right. Loving this, Jonathan Otley. Loving, because the truth. The truth that will let you free. We in this thing too long. And as I said, listen to the trick.
Yes.
Let me say something to you what is likely to happen in Tobago. You know the Tobago House of Assembly election may very well, I didn't want to release that, may very well be called before the general election.
And why is
because of what? That's a question. Because of what happened in the PNM election in Tobago.
Okay.
Remember, they have joined together all the other forces to support who? Tracy Davidson.
Yes, that is
true, yeah. Tracy Davidson cannot become now the chief secretary.
And you had said that before.
I said that before.
And,
but listen,
a lot of people really realize it came to what you said.
Because Charles remained the chief secretary until the THA election is called. That is due in 2021.
Right.
Now, because of the bitterness that happened, and because of that, Charles remained in there, and they said, we want to remove him because we want to do things new. The people complaining that they're not getting this, you're not doing this. Whether true or false, that's not our business this evening. But that is what they were saying.
Yeah.
So it means then that the PNM want to correct those things that they believe Charles may have done to cause the people to be turning away from them. No. How are you going to do that if Charles remains chief secretary? He's still the CEO. So you may want to remove him from there now. So that, and the only way to, if you remove him now, they may ask him to resign. Let's assume he doesn't resign. They ask him to resign. And he doesn't resign.
Yeah.
The only other option is to move a vote of no confidence in him in the House. If you move a vote of no confidence in him in the House, and let's assume you get the others to support that, and you remove Charles, Tracy Davis cannot become the chief secretary because she is not even in the House one, and it takes an assemblyman to become chief secretary, one who win one of the 12 constituencies.
Okay, so
follow me. I'm coming down the line with something here and then end it.
Because before I see our comment here.
I
will take that after.
I will take it and respond to it. Yeah. No. They may very well decide so that Tracy will start to have a way to remove one of the councillors that they have and bring in Tracy as a councillor in the assembly as it stands now.
Yes.
But even so, she can't become the chief secretary. So Joel and they, that could have been the arrangement they made, will become the chief secretary. And then Tracy will be a councillor working with Joel to implement those things that were not implemented before under Charles to build back the confidence of the people in the PNM.
So you are saying that definitely
let me finish. Wait. Yes. Not a woman. Wait. So, if Charles doesn't resign to give them an opportunity, the vote of no confidence may be moved. If you move a vote of no confidence in Charles now because we want me the party is going to mash up in Tobago in a fine way. Yeah. So I don't believe that the People's National Movement will go in the direction of a vote of no confidence. Follow me?
Yes.
So what is likely to happen for us to carry out our plan? The Tobago House of Assembly bill that is before the Parliament, the Constitutional Amendment, that will grant the self-government to Tobago, will be brought forward right now, debated, and passed. And once that is passed, you will do what? Call the election in Tobago because it's a new dispensation so that the election campaign will begin and Tracy will lead that likely, if they win, to become the chief secretary.
Okay.
You see the strategy?
I see the strategy.
Hear this. And I believe that I am so right. I said that to people yesterday morning. By 10 o'clock, I received an invitation.
Oh my.
Dated the 27th. Look how long the bill is there.
Yes.
And everybody said you're passing marijuana bill, you're passing this, you're doing that. You don't deal with the Tobago situation. The runoff finish when? Sunday the 26th.
Yes, yeah.
Parliament write us by letter dated yesterday, Monday the 27th, to come down to the Joint Select Committee on Wednesday, tomorrow morning.
Wow.
So that we can, and listen to me, they have 2 UNDP advisors down there, Professor somebody and another person, to finalize the document that will go before the parliament. Expect a THA election. Monitor what I just tell you.
Yes.
It takes person who understand this thing to do this kind of analysis.
Yes.
I am sure that is the way they're going.
Exactly.
Now I expose it, people going to watch and see what's going to happen.
Well, I'm seeing that. Let's take this comment here.
Where is that?
The PNM. Let's go there. What you say the PNM was?
Well, that's a fact.
Yes.
There is no comment to be given on that. They waste Tobago time, you know.
Correct.
They turn back the hand of the clock 40 years. People say not all over Tobago right now. And this is why they would want to make a scapegoat. They want to make Kelvin Charles the scapegoat.
Yes.
But this demise and destruction begins since Mr. Orville London time.
Yes.
Could you tell me what he has done? I'm not criticizing him. What has he done to further this in Tobago? Apart from the fact when I met with him, we prepared the legislation. But they have power under the President Tobago House of Assembly to have done these things that I've done. Some of the things I've spoken about, you know. Yeah. They have it. So it's not Kelvin, don't blame Kelvin. So that is what they're going to do. Because people lose confidence in the PNM in Tobago. They want to make a scapegoat and say it's Charles. Yeah. So they would want to make sure that Tracy come in there now to meet with Joel. So they're going to start to do them things. They're going to say, oh God, it's Charles in truth. It's Kelvin was doing all these things. Not truth. Yeah. It's the PNM.
All right, let's take this next comment because the comments coming in very fast. Okay.
Why do people not tuning into this program? I believe that they are tuning in. They didn't know, now that they know, and they know that I will be on Tuesday. Let them call in sometime. I will just come here and sit down and take the people's question.
Yes. I see comments.
Knowledge is powerful.
Yes.
Exactly. When it is organized and utilized.
Yes.
Because a library would have been a very powerful place, you know, because there are all kind of knowledge. Sean Boom.
Yes.
Why they're not fixing Seabridge? When Tobago get power, Tobago will fix it. That is why they're not fixing the Seabridge.
Exactly.
They want to keep it like that. Let me tell you something now. In 2001 election, you remember the UNC contested election in Tobago?
Yes.
The THA election in 2001.
Yes.
I had some documentary released with Mr. Pandey. Same UNC. Went to Roxburgh and tell them that I could have come and tell you long before, or try sell out, give out some the telecommunication license to Tobago, some fraud and some. 25th of January. The election was on the 29th. People have no time to hear what we're saying. They kicked me butt out of office because of that. Let me say this.
Yes.
The political parties, a lot of the businessmen, I want you to hear this now.
Yes.
This is not hearing. A lot of the businessmen in Trinidad went to both the PNM and the UNC and said, if you all allow Troy Charles and the NER to succeed in Tobago, we stop giving any finance for the party. Let me repeat that story.
I remember that topic.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that topic.
You don't know why? Troy Charles developing a deep water harbor in Sunday Park.
Yes.
All the goods coming from North America, Canada, England, past Tobago and go down to Trinidad.
Yes.
Into the businessmen warehouses. They will collect them, put a price on it, put it back on the sea, on the sea bridge, what you call the sea bridge for Tobago at their own markup. This is why goods in Tobago are more expensive than Trinidad, and why the vendors have to go down.
Yes.
What I was doing in Tobago is to develop Tobago in such a way that the goods will be here. Studley Park would have been a place that you break bulk, so that instead of Tobagonians going down to Trinidad for goods, it would have been them coming up to Tobago to buy. The businessmen say, if you allow that fella to succeed with that program. And I'm going to tell you another story. We stopped financing the other party. And that's why both of them gang up to remove a Troy from office. They want puppet in office in Tobago. Secondly, and I will call this name, because the man talk, in fact he died now.
Okay.
I never knew that Blue Waters did belong to some way or the other to answer Macalande. I didn't know. When we were talking about is he who tell me? Just remember, if you see when they open Napa and you see me walking down the step, if you get a photograph there, you will see is me and Anthony Sabga, whole hand coming down there.
Yes.
He's my friend. But listen to what he says. He said they make a business decision. He said, when we hear what you saying, that Bloody Bay water Ring Bang water with the name it, you remember that?
Yeah.
Bloody Bay water will make Tobago $42.9 billion in 5 years. We'll produce all the water we need and to export to the Middle East. I never knew at that time blue water was there, you know.
Okay.
Wait. He said we send our people. We examine it.
Exactly.
When we recognize the potential, which is truth, we made a business decision, not a political decision, to provide the other side with all the finance they require to get rid of you, to get rid of you, because they would have shut down Blue Waters. So that's the business decision they made.
Let's take some comments from Mr. Antonio.
Man,
Phillips.
we don't understand. Good night to the Honorable Mr. Charles. I am your servant, sir.
Is Carnival for sale? What he said, yeah?
No, Cavalli for sale.
Oh,
for sale, 150. I wonder what point.
Good afternoon to Jackie. I see Jackie actually make you wait to studio, but she a little late.
What she is?
True ideas.
You could put Jackie on a chair, or Jackie might have a question to ask somehow.
Yes, yes.
I love her, man. Let she come in. If she can walk in. If she
Jackie
can walk
could
in.
make her way in.
Yeah, I know how, and she's going to find a seat. But let's follow them online.
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of people in Tobago look at your program now.
Yes, yes.
And between last week and now, so many people mentioned to me, boy, I never know so many people in Tobago online.
Yeah.
Wow, on your thing.
Yeah.
Oh, but I see what we need the government to train youths and more people to learn CSI work to help the police. It's a subcrime.
Yeah.
Listen to me. I don't want to deal with national security issue on the public. What I'm just saying to you that I have been called as after the attempted coup in 1990 by the Prime Minister to deal with ICU. You have to fix the homes in Tobago, and this is why. When Tobago gets its power, and one Tobago voice take care of Tobago, you will see what will happen to crime in this land.
Yes.
What they're doing in Trinidad is guesswork and messy business. If you fix the families in Tobago, make them godly people. Fix them. I tell people, if you fix the families and the homes in the country, fix them.
Yeah.
The country is fixed. Every institution is fixed. Because every single institution in Tobago comes out of Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago family. Not so?
Yes, of course.
For that matter, you go in in immigration department in Tobago. You go in education department in Tobago. You go in the health department in Tobago. Who are they? Not Tobagonians.
Tobagonians.
If you train them to be nice to people, to be caring to people, to be godly people, not to thief, not to be in corruption and so on. The householders that produce them, you will not have that in government, you will not have them in the institution. So fix it. I remember this. China built the Great Wall. The Great Wall of China. They say when you up in the sky, when you go to the moon, one of the only things that you see in the wall is that. It's so tall.
Yeah.
And so you could drive on it, you know. It's how many miles. I have the details at home.
Yes.
You know why they built a wall around the city of China? How many years ago? Watch me. And they built it because they said at that time there was nothing that was designed to climb over that. Nothing to climb over the wall. It's so high.
Exactly.
It's so thick that at that time there was no hardware and no implement or instrument that could have bust through the wall. Right now, you know you could. You have that now.
Yes, yes.
You could have bust through the wall.
Yes.
To prevent people from invading the city of China. Watch me. China was invaded 3 times. Nobody had climbed over the wall. And nobody had bust through the wall at Great Trade. But yet China was invaded. How was it done? They bribed the gatekeeper and go in.
Yes.
And I said, if they spent their money training the people of integrity and character and honesty, you do not have to spend hundreds of millions to build a wall. That's the same thing I'm saying about crime in this country.
Okay.
The judiciary have to be fixed. Police can't fix crime. There are some of these issues are social issues. You can't use military tactics and military solution to deal with a social problem. So we have to deal it from several angles. They only focus on one thing. And the more they focus on that one thing, is the more the crime escalate.
Let's take 2 comments here. We have Mr. Antonio. Who will you say is fit to lead the people of Tobago?
The people of Tobago must decide that.
Exactly.
And that is why we have provided the forum for the people to come together.
Yes.
When we are finished now, it is those people will vote for the persons who they want to lead them and the party to lead them. I'm sure they have example and evidence.
Exactly.
Let them decide.
All right, we have
The country belongs to the people. They must decide who they want to lead them.
Of course, we have Alex.
He from Brazil.
Okay.
But you
so
must
just
give us
there.
some. You must give us. Oh.
Right. So we'll get that. And I know. Let's take this comment here.
Why should the government build a bigger airport?
Interesting. Yes.
Well, we just deal with that a little while ago and said there is no need to do that. And what is happening down there is illegal.
At this time.
Yeah, because
by removing the people.
it is the Tobago House of Assembly by law that has responsibility for building the airport.
Yes.
By law.
Yes, yes.
And since it is PNM here and PNM there, we don't know what arrangement they made to allow the central government. Because remember, the parliament passed the law and said that is your responsibility. You can't give it up.
Yes, yeah.
Your statutory duty. How the government get inside there, I don't know, they are breaching law. We have to find out that from the PNM, how come that happened, from the THA, how that happened, Kelvin, how this happened.
Yes.
Something is being done about that, and will be done.
To remove the... I am against
and I think that was a conspiracy between the PNM Tobago and the PNM Trinidad.
Yes, yes.
Because the government must want to build the airport and so on, and to do all this kind of stuff, to a big project to mention, but you're distressing people in order to talk about it in the election.
Yes.
And if the assembly does it, the people will destroy them. So they do it from Trinidad. Like a lever, they're quite outside, they'll hand long, and they stretch it in Tobago.
Yeah, you call that the crane.
So the people in Tobago to exonerate themselves from it.
Right.
Say, I move, not me, you know, it's the central government to do that. But they are breaching the statutory duty. And something is going to be done with that. Something is being done about that. And I want to just leave it there. I am sure. And that is why the people have no right. Because the assembly must answer, this is your responsibility under section 25 of the Tobago House of Assembly Act. And the 5th schedule. That your responsibility. I think I have a copy of the act here, did I? And I think I should, you know, sometimes we mustn't race these things. We must take our time to deal with them.
We have this,
because I have half an hour. Oh, yes, it is here. Listen to this.
Oh, that's the Constitution.
That's the Tobago House of Assembly Act. This is what it says. Functions of the Assembly. This is the law, you know. Without prejudice to Section 75(1) of the Constitution, the Assembly shall, in relation to Tobago, be responsible for the formulation and implementation of policy in respect of the matters set out in the 5th schedule. We go on to the 5th schedule. The 5th schedule in the back. And I'm not reading all of them.
No,
I'm reading
the basics.
Item 16. To do what? Formulate and implement policy on all of these areas.
Okay.
And I'm now dealing with item 16 says, infrastructure including air and sea transportation. They finish there. Wharves and airports and public utilities. So the assembly has responsibility for what? Formulating and implementing policy on what? Infrastructure, including air and sea transportation. Air and sea transportation infrastructure is what? Not plane and boat. Follow me well.
Yes.
And then we go down because there would have been we send the brief for this one.
Right.
And wait inside out. So listen to it. And we said wharves. So apart from the fact that you should be the boat and the aircraft, wharves is the port, not so?
Yes.
And the airport is what? The physical building.
Yes.
How come the government doing it? Like breaching the law.
So true.
Completely. That is the difficulty. Remember I told you, it is the Tobago House of Assembly that built the first part.
Yes.
Which is the runway.
Exactly.
And 2 other activities to be done. I lose office, the PNM take over. And they allow everything to be done by Trinidad, contrary to the law.
I seen Mr. Antonio asking how to get a copy
of.
Alright, Mr. Antonio, you will have to get that from Mr. Charles.
No, the copies are available. If you're in this part of the world, the assembly has copies. You can go to the government printery and buy and get a copy. And if you come down here and you could not get it by those means, send something to Murray here, and I am going to tell him how you can get it if you're not in the country, and I am going to make sure that a copy is made available to you.
All right, let's take Cornwall.
I think you should lead Tobago. You are. I have been
Cornwall, I see you let Mr. Charles have to go into his document.
No, yeah, it's a good question. Nobody knew this because somebody asked this question to somebody.
Exactly.
I think it's the lady last week. How long I have spent in the THE. And I want to tell them 4 years.
Right.
I only was 1 term. And listen to this. I want to take my time to say this that people don't know. The Tobago House of Assembly election under this new law that make Chief Secretary and give us all this authority to do all these things. This new law.
Yes.
The election for that took place on the 9th of December 1996. Take your time with that.
1996.
The 9th of December 1996 was the day of the Tobago House of Assembly election to implement this new law, this new structure, and all this power. Right. That wasn't in Tobago before.
Okay.
But wait, no. You know, the law was passed in Parliament 2 days before. The week before. And it wasn't law yet. Because to become law, it has to be passed in the House of Representatives, the Senate, and assented to by the President.
Okay.
Listen to this. The President assent to this act on the 9th of December 1996. Look it here. So this becomes law.
Yes.
On the 9th day of December. You see it marked there? Assented to on the 9th of December 1996. But listen to this. And come into operation, this act came into operation on the 10th of December. So the election was held on the 9th. The very day the president approved this is a serious story, I'm telling you.
Yes.
And it becomes law on the 10th. By the 11th, the president come to install the assembly. So hold me. We had no copy of this because it just assented to it during the election day.
Yes.
And it came up the night of the election by fax. We had to collect it by fax. Nobody knows who's going to be chief secretary. Nobody knows what is in the act. But we know we're going to have a presiding officer. So we have to get a copy. It came 10 o'clock in the night. 10 o'clock the night of the 10th.
Okay.
Because election was in the night, nobody's outside it. We run in the election on the night. The result was declared on the night, on the 10th, the morning of the 10th. You remember that? The morning, we even had a recount. So on the 10th, we met and have our caucus. And at that caucus, Mr. Robinson was there. We decided in the NER that Hochoy going to be the chief secretary. And we want to make Dr. Davison the presiding officer. Dr. Davison wasn't there, you know. He opened the house. He was not a candidate, you know. He was home. And we decided we're going to make him that.
Yes.
So we now gone down, now that they decided that we are going to make you the chief secretary and now going to put the thing in place because the president would have communicated, say, he coming to install us on the 11th because the law say within 3 days.
Right.
Follow me well. We just finished a campaign.
Yes.
The 10th is when the election results were released by 12 o'clock.
Good.
So 10 o'clock on the 10th, we receive a copy of the document.
Okay.
That we are supposed to start to implement from the next day when the president put us into office. Follow me well. We don't have a copy. So 10 o'clock in the night, the copies came, fax. We put it together in the assembly. And then now, we said, oh my God, we need 3 councillors. Watch me. Nobody on board. I can't give you all the details. But watch me. I want to come to the presiding officer. When we finish reading, I left Scarborough after a campaign that lasted a month. I now go be the chief secretary. And now driving to Roxborough on Robert Street
Yes.
to talk to Dr. Davis and say, look here, the president coming up tomorrow to inaugurate you. You are the presiding officer. He never see a copy of the document that he coming to rule over and to preside over.
Yes.
He said, but I don't have a copy. I said, I bring the only copy.
Yeah.
We went through that piece of legislation with Dr. Davis in the night so that he can know it's the only copy we have.
Right.
So that we can know what to do tomorrow morning. The president coming to inaugurate the house. Watch me well. I left there after 2 o'clock in the morning. Watch me. We are no counselor in the house.
Exactly.
I called Miriam aboard. Miriam Caesar Moore. She was one of the counselor. Stanley Beard in Trinidad teaching. And I said, you are one of the counselor. You have to find a suit and come up. Yeah, you know, I hear this story. You have to write a book. You know.
Oh,
Here, but hear this one. I finished write up who going to be secretary because I thought the inauguration was going to take place just like what they do it in Trinidad, where you had to say, and the president did it, you know, but you had to call us back down into Trinidad afterwards and say, secretary for so, secretary for that. But that would have been done afterwards. But I did it.
Yes.
I did that after I come down back from Jeff after 2 o'clock. I sit down by the headquarters in Scarborough's Relax building and sit down there and prepare that old documentation. I had to carry it to our leader, Mr. Robinson, still here.
Okay.
He's the leader of the party up to that stage. And carried for him to check it 6 o'clock in the morning. Can't carry it in the night. So 6 o'clock in the morning, I just left the office from there after a gruesome campaign and go over by Mr. Robinson, carry it, and say, Chief, this is where I do for this morning. For this morning is the 11th.
Yeah, see?
Watch me. 6 o'clock. He go through it and so on. We sit down, we have a little chat and so on. And I know going up to tell Mr. Gift. That is after 7 o'clock, you know.
Yeah.
The inauguration is 9 o'clock. I leave in Scarborough 7 something minutes to 8
to
go look for the next counselor because we had no lawyer. Giff is the only lawyer.
Yes.
And he going to be the deputy in the house. I drive into Mongrace Trace. I said that's in the public now. And call me. Mr. Giff was home. He didn't leave out for go to the office for court. I said, Mr. Giff, we just decided that you will be the counselor because we have no lawyer. Hear this. Hear this. Hear this. I said, please, sir, forgive us. This just happened.
Yeah.
Forgive me. I had to go Golden Lane, you know, 12 miles to just... I said, please, tell your family. And please forgive because I had to leave. I swing wrong my car. He go in and have a chat with the family and so on. And he had to dress to come down in the assembly chamber. I drive to Golden Lane, put on my clothes, and down. I'm the chief secretary, you know. Wow. To meet for 9 o'clock. I am sure it's the first the world hear this.
Yes.
People, so the first 4 years in the assembly, I am reading the law and putting a government in place.
Exactly.
While you can't close down Tobago. You have to be delivering, putting structure and system in place to meet the new law.
Exactly.
So you can say, how try not get no 1 term in office, you know.
Yes.
They kick me out. But that's not a problem. People lie, they say all kind of things, but we're paying a price for it.
Yes.
So I have not had 1 term in office, which is 4 years. Over that one, 16 of them, 4 terms.
Wow.
God is good. What is the question now?
Right, we have comments.
Okay, but why we, as Tobagonian, should let the central government step in to Tobago affairs and there is a House of Assembly? Well, the legislation that we have now did not give us the power, all the power, because the required number of votes in the parliament was not granted. Let me say that. We're not obtained. The PNM was in the opposition and the UNC NAR was in government. And it was 17-17-2. You remember 1996, 1995 election? Was 17 UNC, 17 PNM, and 2 NAR. We went down and supported Pandey for Prime Minister. So it's 1917, so our government could have been formed. But you required 20-something votes. I think it was 24 at the time. Because it was 36. So the House was 36. Now it's 41. Okay. We had 36 votes there. The PNM didn't support it. Okay. I want to repeat that. The PNM didn't support it. So the taking away the policy making from the government would have required 24 votes. And since you didn't take it away, this is why Section 25, it was written like this, without prejudice to. It didn't say subject to 75.1. 75.1 of the Constitution talks about the authority of the cabinet to make policy for the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. So they still can override any decision we make in Tobago. Or if they make a policy and tell us to implement it, we have to implement it. We can't go contrary to it. Sometimes to our detriment. Or you just leave it so.
Exactly. Well, we have so much
So I know answer your question. That is why. And that is why the legislation that is now before Parliament that we're going to be discussing tomorrow, that I am sure is going to be debated in the first quarter of this year to grant us the power to prevent central government from coming here and doing this kind of stuff, that legislation will give us that power and remove central government authority over the day-to-day running of Tobago. That's why everybody had to speak with one voice to get it.
Exactly. Well, I see Akim saying you can download it for files, okay?
You mean it is the act? Yeah. You can download it for free, maybe from the Parliament channel. I believe. Oh yes, you have to go on the government website. Yes. I don't know it offhand.
I wanted to take these two comments because I see time running out on you, and I see some comments here.
Yeah, I have about 20 more minutes.
We have and what
is going on with the quarry? Oh boy, I'm going to when we come back next week. We started that quarry. We started to export stuff, but we're now building the jetty in order to allow Tobago to have direct communication with the outside world. So all the goods are going to come down there. And that we are going to be exporting even to Trinidad. Those are the material from the Study Park quarry to build that industry in Trinidad. In fact, we export material from there with the limited facility we had there while we were building to Suriname to build the airport. Okay. Now, the PNM under Orville London left that there for 16 years. No Charles came. And they now recognize, because Alan Richards and those chaps are there, recognize, oh my God, this is a gold mine. Yeah. And he started it. Did you hear they saying that now? Yes. That it is the flagship project. Yes. But I understand that people can't get material from there. The local community, the price gone up so high because somebody in Trinidad getting all the material. When one Tobago voice takes over, the quarry goes back to exporting excess. And for the industry, the building industry in Tobago, to have these things at an affordable price. Okay. It's really ridiculous.
Let's take Mr. And this is a pastor who has come in here.
This is a good man to lead Tobago. Thank you very much for your comment. But I am not even promoting myself. I want Tobago to get power and let the people at Tobago decide where they want, but I don't doubt you. Yes. But everybody knows this. The evidence of our ruling is there.
Yes.
But I'm not even promoting myself. I want everybody to come on board one Tobago boys. Yes. That's the solution. Let me stop focusing on individuals. Although I think I thank you for the comment that you make. But right now, when the time comes, people will say, that is the man or that is the lady, we're going to put that in place. We're going to put that party in place. We're going to put our organization in place because that go free way. Yes. If we were inside that now, everybody in Tobago would have been a millionaire.
Yes, exactly.
Imagine $42.7 billion. Trinidad would not have been in any financial problem. And when I come back the next time, because I have to go in now, I am going to read this document. It's going to be short. The deepening crisis in the national economy that I delivered to the House and give to the government on Thursday, February 25th, 1999. If I didn't read a date, when I finish reading the detail, you are going to think it's now a right it because of the crisis Trinidad going through. Yes. I'm going to take me time and read it the next time that I come here. And then I'm going to take question on it. People are going to recognize, oh God, oh, government in Trinidad should have listened to what Tobago saying all the time. We would not have been in all this trouble, financial trouble and so on. I promise you that.
I see Mr. Antonio Phillips.
We should not support the election comic. But how anybody going to do it? Thank you very much.
And I see that he's saying December 9, 2016.
1996. The THA Act was made law. Yes, true.
Right.
I just read it here.
And I want to say
Anansi Golam.
Yes.
What you say? You say hi.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Lee.
Why you can be the president for Tobago?
Yes, Mr.
Oh, thank you.
You have some challenge.
Thank you very much. I promise next week, Tuesday when I come back, Jackie will be early.
Yes, hopefully.
Jackie will be early.
Hopefully.
And we will have a nice discussion.
Yes.
And I don't have to leave to go because I have another program elsewhere. But I can go on for the next 5 minutes. I leave at half past. I could be able to meet in time.
All right.
So we could take 10 more minutes, see for 5 more minutes, and then I get out, get in my car, and run to my next appointment. I would never fix another engagement. I promise you that, Mr. Murray. I will never fix another engagement on a Tuesday. Tuesday belongs to you and your studio.
Of course. Thank you very much for that.
No, and my word is my bond.
I realize that.
When I tell you I come in 7 o'clock, I meet here, you at 6 o'clock, I'm going to be here. Why you can be the that's a good man to lead the way go. That's another comment from Libra. Oh yeah, like Libra. Good night, Mr. Charles. Good night, Mr. Leet. Good night. This is a good show. That is Brooms.
Thank you.
Yeah, indeed. It's an education program. And the only thing that can liberate you out of the bondage you're in is education. And that is why we choose to educate. When we come here, it's not bacchanal, it's not bashing anybody, it's not talking anything that just comes to our mouth. We bring evidence to show you how you can get out of the predicament you are in. We demonstrate that to you. We educate you. And if you take this education, 2 weeks ago,
I see someone said I'd like to meet you in person.
I am available. I'd like to meet you, Mr. Charles, like Sean Broom. Well, I gave my number.
Mr. Sean Brooms, yeah.
My number is available to the whole world.
Yeah.
Since I owned phone how many years ago, I changed phone, update and so on, but I never changed my number. And I give my number online. My number is 680 0240. I tell people, if I am somewhere, leave a message on the phone. That's why they make voicemail for.
Exactly.
But I never hide my number. It's a secret thing, and you don't want nobody call you.
Yes,
I was minister of government. Everybody has my number. I was the chief secretary. Everybody knows my number.
Yes.
But if you call me, you may not get me because I'm in a meeting here. I'm in Trinidad. I'm doing this there. But if you leave a message, I am going to return that call. I don't look at my phone for missed call because sometimes, in my experience, some of them are wrong number.
Yes.
And if you had a call, sometimes you call so many wrong numbers. Yes. So you just leave a message, just a short message, short. I want to talk to you. I want to meet Mr. Charles. I want to meet you, Mr. Charles. I want to have a conversation with you, Mr. Charles. So. One short message, and I am once there's a voicemail, I'm returning that.
Exactly. So Sean Brooms, you understand?
Yeah, man. And you have my number. The world has my number.
I see you say should be a teacher here.
But that was my first job, you know. And I continue to teach. But now I'm teaching the wider public. I'm teaching the country. Yes, not a joke. Listen to me. It's hundreds of students that come to me at office there, you know, that the professors will send from the university. You know. Once they're doing government or politics, they send them, you know. The professors send them. And listen to what I mean, every one of them that come. They come simply because they do either the master's or the PhD. And they come to do the thesis, they want information. Every single one of them, without a doubt, says to me one thing: Mr. Charles, you have to put these things on record. You know. You have to prepare CDs, you know, because you would have to talk from now, because we have never got this information anywhere that we have gone. It's true.
Exactly.
People don't know this, you know.
And this is what educating the people more, because I'm seeing the people, they are now, as you see, most people now are saying that, you know, you should be the leader.
But we have been teaching it for years.
Yeah,
but God said to me sometime 2 weeks last week, I was struggling with it. And saying, but I wonder what Noah could have done after talking to the people for 100 years to get them to hear him and to understand him. Maybe they didn't know and so on.
Exactly.
And in my spirit, it says, they know. The Lord said they know. Because it's the same people he was talking to for 120 years. They know, but they did not believe. Watch me. And then he says, you only act on what you believe. If you know and you don't believe, you wouldn't act on it. And it's the same thing Jesus says. He was talking to the Jews. They saw him heal people, raise the dead, and say, come to me to get your salvation. They didn't believe. They all perished. Those who did not believe Noah perish in a flood. If you don't believe what we're saying to you in Tobago, so then nobody in Tobago, they tell you that they don't know. There are some young people in Tobago, I must admit, that really don't know. Because since I left, since we lost office, the government has taken over, wiped the record clean. I am talking to people by Tam Mall the other day, and the person 19, one of them 21. And they say, oh, church, he said the first chief said, no, we don't know. So what school you went? And they say, I went to change my ID card at the EBC. The girl who attended to me is 21. Very nice, polite person. So I gave her the card because it expired.
It expired, right.
And she went through it. So she looking at the card and she asked me a question. And the question she asked me, I said, you don't know me. She looked at the card. Oh, church. She said, no. I said, oh, like, she said 21. That's how I know she is. She said 21. So it means then, I am out of office 20 years. All these things that were done for people sending their children, their mother, their father, their brother on scholarships abroad with no money, make them doctors because I was empowering them to deal with the development program of Tobago without having to go outside to bring people in. Educating them so that they could have been liberated. I sent them out to be trained. They don't know anything about that. No record of us have been done. And I learned the same thing in Exodus 1:8. Exodus 1:8 in the Bible says that there was a pharaoh or king that came up in Egypt that did not know Joseph. Read that story. Joseph is the man who become prime minister was Israel in Egypt. That give the pharaoh with the dream, the plan, to build them barns and so on, because they're going to be 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine in the country. And Joseph interpret the dream. They make him prime minister. And he is the one that saved Egypt and the whole Middle East, including his own family. So he was prime minister. When he died, this new king that come up, they buried the record. Said these people multiplying so fast, boy, if another person come to fight with us, because they were living in Goshen, and they join with them, they're going to lose the war. They enslaved all of them. Had they known the record of Joseph, that he is the man that saved their life, he would have never enslaved his people. It's the same thing. You bury her trial record, so nobody knows. So they keep it in bondage and slavery. Now God said, expose it. Although I didn't come here to talk about me, I come here to talk about educating you to liberate you.
Let's take this comment before you do leave. And people don't forget, is every Tuesday tune in from 5:30.
You want it for 5:30? I'll be here.
All right, 5:30.
Where is the comment there?
Jackie, I'll take Mr. Lead comment here.
Tobagonians need to be more informed. We are blinded by poor politicking, and so the issues of our self-government are ignored. Quite true. Well, this is what we are doing. We are shining light so that the blind can see, and they will be able to follow. So thank you very much. Sorry I have to leave you all. I leave you with Brother Murray, and I think my sister Jackie is going to be there, leaving you with him. I have another program, so I have to run. Thank you all very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. Charles, for being here.
Thank you.
And don't forget to tune in every Tuesday for more information on Tobago and what Tobago is basically all about. So people, make sure from 5:30 on every Tuesday, tune in to GLS 103.5 online. If you're looking for us, you can find us on, you look for GLS online radio station. There is where you can find me and my whole entire staff, and we will be here to educate you. All right, and don't forget we are on a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and also Sunday. Thank you, Mr. Lead, for your input. So don't forget we always have different days, different vibe. Let me just show it up here so you all can see it. Right? On a Tuesday, we have mellow moods. On a Thursday, we have vintage. All right, we have vintage. And on a Friday, turn it up. On a Saturday, smash down Saturday. And we have Sunday, which we have 2 programs. Sunday morning, we have gospel with 4 different pastors coming in from 8:30 all the way up till midday. And then I am in back a little later on that evening with Old School Jam. Alright, we have Rapid supposed to be in this afternoon, but he's unable to make it with Jackie this afternoon. But I do have Jackie here in studio. Alright. Yes. So just tune in on every Tuesday to hear more on the issues of Tobago and the issues on things that could develop you as well. Alright. Well, let me just say to Jackie, I will just put something to play and let me just rap with Jackie one moment because I don't know if she has something that she like to say, because I see her partner who's supposed to actually run with her this afternoon, right? And she had supposed to be in to do this interview with Mr. Charles, but I know sometimes we do have so much commitment on our afternoon, just like myself. But nevertheless, we must say thanks for Mr. Charles being here inside on GLS, and don't forget, as I said, share, subscribe, and always keep in tune with us as we keep broadcasting out of the style of Tobago. Alright, so let me just give you some songs by the meanwhile as I just rap with Jackie. I was off. Yeah, Jackie. We off.
In this life, in this life, in this life, it is a sweet life coming in from the cold. We're coming in, 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 coming in from the cold. It's you. It's you, it's you I'm talking to. Well, you I'm talking to now. Why do you look so sad and forsaken? When one door is closed, don't you know other is open? Would you let the system make you kill your brother, man? Coming in from the cold. We're coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in, woo, coming in from the cold. It's life, it's life, it's life, it's life, it's life, it's life, it's well, coming in from the cold. We're coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in. Hey. Coming in from the cold. It's you.
Yes, my viewers are sorry about that one. I know the board was mute and you see my mouth was moving. Sorry about that one.
sad and forsaken. Don't you know when one door is closed, many more is open. Well, would you let the system get on top of your head again? No, that no. Would you let the system make you kill your brother, man? No, dread, no. Well, would you make the system get on top of your head again? No. Well, the biggest thing you ever did you see was I once a baby in this oh sweet life. We're coming in from the cold. Coming in. Whoa, yeah. Coming in from the cold. We're coming in. Yeah. Coming in from the cold.
Yes, good night to you and yours. Once again, I'd like to say thank you all for that information. I had to mute the board at the time when I was speaking. Mr. Charger just make his way out. All right, at this time, let's just run 2 ads and I'll be back in with some more.
Well, it's your boy Ziggy Rankin, and it's all about Saturday, the 15th of February. Tobago, I'm coming for many moods of love. Apex on the rooftop. So make it a date and don't be late. Everything will be great. Baby girl, I know that you were never in love with me. So baby, who do you want?
Saturday, 15th February, the night after Valentine. It's Many Moods of Love at Apex on the Roof, Store Bay Local Road, from 9 p.m. Featuring Adana,
Ask me how I'm feeling good, cause I'm looking good.
Ziggy Rankin,
Well, you know how hard me work. Every night me I kneel and me pray.
Squatty,
It hurt me hard, I ball me bad. Can't believe I've done you gone.
Stephanie Joseph, and Kabasi. Early bird
shots
tickets,
on entry.
only $100. Available at Cachet's Gulf City Mall and Apex, Store Bay Local Road. For info, call 745-8953. It's a love thing. Hosted by RL Entertainment.
One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Hear the children crying. One love. Hear the children crying. One heart. Saying, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Saying, let's get together and feel alright. Let them all pass all their dirty remarks. One love. There is one question I'd really love to ask. One heart. Is there a place for the hopeless sinners who has hurt all mankind? Just a Savior's own belief. One love. What about a one heart? What about let's get together and feel alright? As it was in the beginning, one love. So shall it be in the end. One heart. Alright. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel
All right, my people, here what's happening. Jackie is not in studio this afternoon along with Rapid. So this time I make my way out and because we have a lot of things to do otherwise. So enjoy the rest of your afternoon. See you guys. Okay.